Hello, dear soul, and welcome to the Light Bears Library. My name is Kate Harmony. In today's journal entry, I want to pick up from my last journal entry where I was talking about how I had a meltdown. Now, it has taken me 2 days to recover from said meltdown. And how did that meltdown start? It started with, a seemingly insignificant incident involving a washing machine, which then triggered a bunch of thoughts that were fearful thoughts, negative thoughts, where I spiraled downwards into that negativity spiral, to the point of like, what's the point of life? And then that resulted in a draining of what feels like my life force, right? My energy force. And the rest of that day and all of yesterday, I just felt so drained and like empty. I felt like I couldn't even talk to my husband or listen. Like I just had no capacity for anything. And so it really was another I don't know what I want to call it, like a reality check, knock, knock, like, hello. So what I want to talk to you today about is that I think we need to be try and be as aware as possible of our thoughts and emotions and what it is that's going on with them, because that's how our energy gets drained. That's how we then, and I started to feel a little like, I don't get sick. When I start to feel that sense, I'm like, I'm not looking after myself. I've drained my energy too much. So I need to be more and more aware, especially because, if you've been following my journal entries, you know that we're in the house we're in is going to be sold. We're having to move. So there's a lot of things that could cause a lot of anxiety. So here is the thing that I will be working on every day now is that, so if anxiety then drains all my energy and I need that energy to just, have a good day, let alone have the energy to move and whatever. So what I'm realizing is that I need to be very aware of choosing calmness, choosing peacefulness, that I get to choose how I think about what's going on. The open house this weekend. I get to choose how I'm feeling about it, usually, and I'm working on this, is like, oh, it's not clean enough, it's not tidy enough, it's not like, excuse me, I'm not getting paid to like make my place spick and span for a viewing. It's like, it will be clean and tidy, but I feel that anxiety of, oh, people are going to judge me. People are going to like, whatever. I don't want to be that person anymore. It's like, it's like, how about I couldn't care less what you think about me, I have little like, up here on my mantle, there's little crochet animals, and on my walls I have like, paintings of, cute little animals that my husband's grandfather painted for him. He was a famous painter in South Africa. Like I have plants, and I'm an INFP. This is my house where I live. So if somebody has a problem with that, I don't care. So I'm trying to develop a bit of like a thicker skin and to kind of just be like, whatever, not care so much, not be so anxious, because that anxiety and that caring what other people think leads to me feeling that sense of overwhelm, that sense of being, you know what I'm talking about, right? When we're anxious or overwhelmed or caring what people think, it's like, I don't know, there's like tension in my throat, in my neck, in my head, and my heart pounds faster. And who's doing that? I'm doing that. I'm by choosing to feel anxious about a situation. Instead, I could change the way I look at it, and I could say, yeah, but this is an opportunity for me to move to, my kind of, I'm going to call it my hometown. It's not really, because the place I grew up in wasn't a town. Anyway, whatever. It's close enough. But I get to move to my hometown where both my husband and I feel grounded. We feel like we can build community there. And so it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. So I'm just going to keep focusing on the opportunity, and I'm going to keep focusing on, this house is going to sell just like that. So there won't be too many viewings after, the open houses. It'll just be fine. Because that will mean that I am putting my health first. Because when I drain my energy, like my life force energy, whatever you want to call that, psychic energy, you know what I'm talking about. Then my body is run down, I feel run down, and that's draining my health. So my health is one of my number one priorities. And so kind of looping that back, if health is one of my number one priorities and feeling overwhelmed and anxious drains my life force energy, okay, then I need to figure out how not to choose to be anxious and stressed and whatever. And that starts with, what triggers those emotions is thoughts. And or, things that arise, like an email from our landlord or an email, like it's just like, so that's the initial catching that moment is so important to my health and well-being that I better start placing more importance on catching this thought, this trigger. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is just like it's there's an intangible, unseen thing that you can start to feel when you tune into it. It's like the rising of the rising tide of stress, or it's just like, ooh, no thank you. No, thank you. And taking a deep breath and like maybe shaking out my body, because, as soon as something happens, it's like there's this tendency to freeze, right? Freeze. If I don't move, then the bad thing can happen to me. Right. If we're frozen, we can't react in a good way. And so keep my body loose and just keep focusing on this is an opportunity. So I'm going to say no, thank you to stress and anxiety. So I hope that was helpful to you in whatever situation you're dealing with. Everybody's got different situations in their lives, whether it's work-related stuff or relationship-related stuff. Whatever, right? It's trying to catch those incidents. We get a text, we get an email, we get, something that causes a bunch of thoughts to spiral into fear and anxiety. So keep watching for those thoughts and say, you know what? My health and well-being, my energy level, that is worth so much more to me than choosing these negative, anxious thoughts. So I'm going to leave it there. There's all sorts of things I could go on with, but just catching those things is so important. So if this has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up. I would love to hear from you in the comments about, if you've noticed this pattern for yourself, and how any thoughts you have of how you are trying to catch those, or, I'm always looking for tips and tricks from you, because I'm no expert. I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing my experience here, hoping that it helps you to feel not so alone in your own experiences. And yeah, please join me in the Light Bears Library. I would love to have you here. Okay, well, I'm signing off for today. I'm wishing you so many blessings. XOXO, Kate.